Okay, cool. As promised, I am featuring the Jam X from Apogee. This is the newest one they came out with, and I find it to be sound-wise one of the best. 200. It's $200 for it in U.S. price, and it's one of the best I've ever used. Partly because they added compression to it, which I think is phenomenal to have for bass and for guitar. Um, yeah, so out the gate it's amazing. Okay, so we'll talk about the features. I'll run through the basics of it, of what it is and what it does, and then because there's not a lot of videos where it's not Apogee, right, doing it, and sometimes it can be kind of, when companies do that, I get like the idea of using their product to show you, because they're going to show you the best, but it's nice to see somebody who's not paid by Apogee. That's me, right, or somebody else that's not paid by them that uses the product. And I will say this, they didn't send it to me for free at all. And I did not get a discount, and I paid for it myself because I really wanted. I have the mixer face, and it's cool for like synth and stuff like that, but it's not fun for guitar and bass in my opinion. It's definitely too clean. Um, and the signal, I mean, if you just want something super squeaky clean, it'll work, but I personally need a little bit of character to it, to make it sound good, so I don't have to do all that on the back end. I still do stuff on the back end, but whatever. I just think it gives it a little character. Okay, so Apogee Jam X. So there's a couple things on here. So there is an analog compression built into it. Okay, you got a color LED display, which shows the input level, the compression presets, and then the blend mode. So this little button here acts as the blend mode, and it's basically on off. So you can turn it on or you can turn it off. If you leave it on, we'll talk about later what that does. But let's get to the this big button here. So the dial input is your level adjustment, right, knob. It's also the compression preset selector. So you can see there's 3 compressions, and then there's off. So it's off at this current state. When I press it here again, you'll see blue on the first one. Now the blue one, I'm gonna pull up my notes so that you get the actual what it is. By the way, while we're doing that, it works on iPad, it works on iPhones, it works on the MacBook, it works on Android, I believe, too. Anything is, and Windows. So as long as it has an audio workstation basically built into it of some sort, then it works. I'll show you more of that. And by the way, you can go to apogeedigital.com. That's where all this information comes from. All right. You can also hook it to like if you open Apple Music or Spotify or something like that, you can do that and listen to music through it. So it's pretty cool. All right. So let's talk about, I'm trying to get you to the different compressions, which for some reason is not popping up, but I know there's 3, right? And there's the off. So give me 1 second here, because my computer, I either passed it and that was not good. Let me see if I can just pull it back here. Okay. So let's talk about here we go. We'll talk about it. So the one right here, the first blue light to the left, is gonna be your smooth leveler. And so that's more like a gentle, smooth compression. Then there's what they call the purple squeeze, which is this middle one, the middle blue light. And that one's gonna be like a medium compression. And then the last one is a fast and heavy compression. They call it vintage blue stomp. And I think they modeled that one after the Boss compressor that everybody, that back in the, I wanna say back in the 80s, was it, that it came out? It was really popular. So, and then when it's no LED like that, it's just basically no compression on at all. Now, I'll show you a demonstration of, I primarily use the lighter compression. I don't want a ton of compression on there. I guess I would use it for a solo. Maybe I would put like the vintage blues stomp where it's fast and heavy, something like that. But the idea is that you can run the compression like outside of your interface, and then you can put an amp inside there, like an IR or whatever you're going to use for your amp. Some people have little boxes, like I know the Tone X box is out from IK. And so you could run this ahead of it and then put that in. And yeah, you could get a really nice signal. So the blend mode, which is this, remember I told you if you press it, you see the white and it's on, it's either on or off, is basically like a way to use to monitor, direct monitor from this versus from the software. So, you know, if you've ever used Ableton or anything, some other DAWs may do this too, but if you turn the monitoring on while you're trying to record, it'll give you feedback and latency issues and all kinds of stuff while you're trying to record it. So this basically says, I'm going to bypass the software monitoring and I'm going to direct monitor from here, which gives you a lot less latency issues. So it allows you to basically hear the amp. Like let's say you have a simulated amp, it'll let you hear the simulated amp, which is nice. So, and so actually you might, so with it using the software monitor, that's the issue a lot of times, is the latency issues. So you can, again, go to apogeedigital.com, look at their Jam X page. They have a PDF breakdown of all that good stuff. And it really tells you the pros and cons of using it versus not using it. I'll let you do that research yourself. I think for each person reading it might be different. If I just tell you, I'm just giving you a basic of what it does. So your selector is the big knob. It also acts as the volume. I kind of mentioned that too. It does have the ability, right now I'm running this out to speakers, but you can run your headphones into it. And you see I have it plugged in. It's micro USB, and then it goes into, you know, in the box the cables are, I think it's micro USB to USB and then micro USB to USB-C. So I'm just running into the iPad. This is going to kind of fall a little bit. That's one thing. If it's not on a flat surface, it tends to wiggle and move a lot. So just be mindful of that. But it's so small, it's not a big deal. And you only have, obviously, the one input. You can run keyboards through it, they said. I tried to run this through it. But remember, if you do that, you're only recording mono. So it's not the greatest for that. And so one of my cons outside of, I forgot what my other con is. That's terrible. One of my cons is with it that I don't like. And it is an interface, so I have to remember that it's an interface. And I may be wrong about this, but I think I had one a while back, a long time ago, one of the earlier ones, and I felt like you could just power it from here, like run some type of power to it. Like if I use like this little brick here, and then you could just plug your headphones in and just jam, almost like a little amp that you could take with your guitar. But that's not the case. So that's one of my things I don't like. I would prefer if they make this where it doesn't have to have a DAW like situation or something, that you could just power it and use it as like a headphone amp, sort of, kind of, you know, so that you can practice. That's something that I think would give this device even more quality and make it even a better deal. But as of now, it's not the case. Let me do this here. As of now, it's not the case, and it is what it is. You just have to accept it. So I did a beat here, simple. Then I did some chords. So let's see, maybe I should turn this up so you can hear it. Oops, I got to turn it down. So I'll let you hear it. This is running out to the speakers. I'm not going to play it super loud because my family is in the house and they're doing things and I don't want to drive them nuts. So this, I should show you, I'll pull my guitar out since it's already plugged in. And I really don't think sound on the YouTube is going to help you determine how good it sounds. It would have to be like astronomically, if that makes sense, if I'm saying the right word, good for you to be able to hear it. So let's turn it off. By the way, I'm playing nylon and I have the hardest time finding stuff that works good with the nylon. And I think they're one of the guys that is kind of like helping Apogee to promote this is Tim Henson, one of the dopest guitarists, and he uses a nylon too. And my nylon, I'll try to show it to you if I can. was made by Ben Woods, who passed away recently, probably in the last 3-4 months. Really good guy who played flamenco and metal guitar together. And you can look him up. His stuff is still on YouTube. And so he sold me this guitar like right before the pandemic happened, and I've kept it ever since. And it's my favorite guitar I've ever had. So you can hear the guitar. So that's no compression. And if you look over here, I can't hold this while I'm playing, but you can see the meter jumping as I play. It's not clipping. So you could push it a little bit. But when it starts getting the orange, it's kind of messing up. So you don't want to. I'm going to push it, dial it back just a little more. Okay. So that's without it. Now here's with just the first level of compression, which is the smooth. And it's really hard to tell, like, how good is that versus what the... I'm not the greatest player, by the way, so you probably already figured that out, but... Okay, but this is not for me playing purpose. This is just so you can hear it. I'll show you the next level. Play some single notes. Okay, and then I'll go to the highest. You can really tell, I mean, if you're in person, you can hear the compression, how heavy that is. Especially with this guitar, for some reason I can tell even more so. But it's because I'm in person, it just makes a difference. So I like a little bit of compression, it's cool. It makes my notes sound pretty even across the board. The sound to me, in my opinion, is a little bit warmer than when I just play it outright. So if I just turn it off, it's okay. By the way, I'm playing with my fingers, so let me play with a pick, which I don't know where I put my pick. Did I leave it there? Yeesh. I don't know where I put the pick. Well, I had a pick over here. I would have grabbed it so you could hear what it sounds like when I use a pick. Give me a second to see if I can just locate where I put it. Oops, I don't want to do that. I'm going to move this out of the way just for a second so I don't knock it down. Nope, not there. Not here. Well, goodness gracious. All right. Unfortunately, I didn't grab the pick before I started. Let me see if I got a different pick. I don't play with a lot of picks. I do play on leads with a pick. I take that back. If I'm doing like a lead or something like that, I'll play with a pick. But like generally speaking, if I'm doing rhythm or something, I won't play with a pick. So I have a pick now. This is a little... What is this one again? Gravity. Gravity is what I use on almost all the time. They have a stealth pick that I like. It's not the prettiest looking pick, but it definitely is amazing. All right, so let's go back and see where we are. Off. That's the smooth. Trying to keep the same. So I'm trying to keep the same, not too hard, but you can, that's no. So a little. So compression's cool. Funk stuff is cool, right? Because you're trying to, or rhythm stuff for sure. Okay, so I did the best I could for you there. Again, YouTube's gonna mess the sound up, and you're not gonna be able to fully get a clear picture on a YouTube thing. So if you really want to know for yourself, grab it. But it's just compression, okay? But it is analog, which is nice. And so I will say this, with digital compression, I find that in my opinion, it tends to be a little more sterile, or what's the word I'm trying to find? It tends to be not as warm, and I'm trying to use words to describe it, and it also tends to be noisy, in my opinion, even more noisier sometimes than the analog stuff. And so let me just make sure. I know one of the things people complain on demos is like somebody didn't tune their guitar, and mine's it's close, but I feel like it's a little. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna just tune real quick. It's there. It's just all right. Nitpicking. Where are we now? The compression. Remember, this is a nylon. I'm gonna switch out and put the bass on in just a second. So here's what I recorded. This is with the this smooth compression right now that you're hearing. Turn that off. I'm gonna switch over to the more. Not that one, this one. All right, so there's me just tinkering around a little bit so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. And that's with the nylon. This thing, in my opinion, and if you play acoustic or you play nylon, probably you really know how to play if you do. I'm not that good. I just play like the nylon because I like the sound of it more or less. But this thing does wonders with the nylon guitar. For some reason, it just sounds really well. I'm not going to get into details of what cable I have and all that. It doesn't really matter. The point is, this is a Nutrix cable, but the point is just use what you got. But this little guy here, if you want something ultra portable that gives you some compression, analog compression, and gives you, I'm switching to the bass if you're wondering, and kind of gives you a nice sound going in, and you get clarity coming out too. I feel like it's really good. So that's kind of nice. See, I have no amp too, so this really doesn't matter if I turn that on. Wow. It's like it lost. Oh. So here's another thing, this monitoring thing. So if you're in if you go, let's say you go here, and I'm using Koala just because it's easier to turn on, and you want to monitor in Koala, let's just say, you have to turn this on to monitor. If you turn this off, right? So then play. right, so if you turn this off, you're basically monitoring through the Jam X versus monitoring through there. Now in this case, I don't have an amp in here that's playing, so it doesn't really matter, I don't think, because it's more for, do you want to monitor and hear your amp being played in there? I want to turn it on. So I don't really see it useful yet. Maybe there's a reason why somebody would use that. I really don't care, in my personal opinion, but okay, cool. So I'm not about to sit here and just keep playing out. Otherwise, I'll never stop. Just keep playing and have fun. How far are we on this video? We are 22 minutes in. I spent enough time with it. So just so you know, it works well. It works on the DAWs really well. Now, inside, one more last thing. Inside the box, what do you get? I told you got the 2 cables. You get the Jam X, of course. This is what the box looks like, in case you're wondering. I'll show you, because I'm not doing a box opening, but it looks like that. See, built-in analog compressor. It works on iOS. I told you all that good stuff. Here's a little demonstration of what it could work with. Acoustic, electric, bass, electric guitar, bass guitar, keyboard. Pretty simple. You don't need to see the serial number. It's not that important. There's what's in the box.